AITA for telling my Bill to get over himself and to quit holding a 10-year-old grudge? My Bill, married to my sister, is a general contractor. About 10 years ago, my dad and brother was building a deck at my parents' home. They asked my Bill if they could borrow his skid loader, but he said no. They prepared the ground as best they could without the skid loader, but got to the point they couldn't go on without it. They went to my sis's house to ask again, but found out Bill went out of town. They talked my sis into letting them borrow it, so she took them down to his construction lot and they hooked it up to Dad's truck. This next part I'm not sure of since I don't know much about towing, but from what I was told, Dad's truck wasn't big enough or powerful enough to tow the skid loader on the dump trailer, so he lost control and wrecked. The truck, trailer, and skid loader was totaled. The insurance was barely enough to cover the medical costs and the truck. There was none left over to cover Bill's stuff. When he got back to town, he exploded. He threatened to sue and things just went downhill from there. My parents are not rich and he wouldn't have gotten anything, so in the end, sis talked him into letting it go. However, from that day on he wouldn't have anything to do with our family. He doesn't come for birthdays, holidays, nothing at all. Next month is our parents' 50th anniversary and we're planning a big family gathering to celebrate. We're also chipping in to send our parents on a cruise to Mexico because they've never been out of the country. I spoke to sis about it the other day and she said she's coming with the kids but Bill is not coming. I was fine with that, but when we were discussing their portion of the cruise money, I heard him yelling in the background to deduct their portion from the cost of the skid loader and dump trailer. That pissed me off, so after my call with sis, I called Bill and told him to get over himself. I told Dad and bro made a mistake, but that was 10 years ago and he needs to let it go. He said he'll let out go when they give him the money he lost. I told him he's an ass for holding on to a grudge and putting money in the way of a family relationship. Sis called me a few minutes ago and said they're not coming and that I was out of line. We argued for a bit and that's where it stands. I don't think I'm wrong for telling him to let go of the past, but they're not coming to the anniversary party, so now I'm not sure. Answers to your questions, let's get something straight. My dad and brother are not bad people. They are good people who made a mistake. They couldn't pay back Bill because he wanted almost $70,000 and again, we're not rich. Dad had to buy another truck because he needed it to go to work. On the other hand, Bill had 3 other sets of skid loaders and dump trailers on his lot that day so he could take the financial hit while my parents would be homeless. Bill and sis are way better off than the rest of us, so while I understand your reasoning of paying Bill back, he doesn't need it. The cruise to Mexico isn't some millionaire trip. The total cost is about $3,000 and it'll take over 20 people to pay for that. Again, we're not rich. We can barely cover $3,000 spread out over 20 people, so there's no way we can pay $70,000.